Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the kickoff presentation for Project 1987, which is a qualitative study to explore patient journey in stage 4 prostate cancer patients. My name is Sonal Ghuraman-Sukhani, and I would be leading the project from the side of Evadera. So today, in the kickoff meeting, we would be going through these five main points in the agenda. Our goal is to make sure that you and the Evadera team is on the same page. We would be discussing the project background, the rationale, the objectives of the project, the scope of work which delineates all the tasks involved in the project, a timeline, and we would also have the opportunity to discuss any questions that we may have towards the end of the presentation. So the Evadera project team consists of Sonal Ghuraman-Sukhani, which is myself. I would be serving as a principal investigator on this project. Jaskirat Singh is going to be the project manager, who would also be the senior research associate, along with Kawaljeet Kaur, who would help us out with the qualitative interviews for prostate cancer patients. We're delighted to work with Dr. Perry Tuning, who is the Associate Professor at the School of Pharmacy at UW-Madison, and Dr. Dave Creeling, who is the Associate Professor in the School of Pharmacy at University of Illinois, Chicago. Thank you so much for collaborating with us once again, and we're delighted to have this opportunity to actually expand the project under your supervision. We're also really happy to work for the first time with Mr. Singh from the Prostate Clinical Research Institute. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. All right, so moving to the project background and the rationale, the School of Pharmacy from UW-Madison and UIC have collaborated with Evadera earlier to develop a scale for use as endpoints in the late-stage prostate cancer clinical trial program. The scale which we developed 2 years ago was called the Prostate Cancer Quality of Life Scale, or the PCQOLS. Preliminary communications with the US FDA have highlighted that the scale could actually be strengthened even further if we include prostate cancer patients' opinion from stage 4 in addition to the stage 3 prostate cancer patients that we had included 2 years ago while making the scale. There is some data already present with UW-Madison and UIC from a secondary data point of view, and this study would serve as an expansion from the work which we did earlier and help to collaborate a better, robust picture for the US FDA to make a dossier. The study objectives essentially are to evaluate the validity of the PCQLS in stage 4 prostate cancer patients. And in order to accomplish this goal, which would require clinical personnel and facilities, Evadera proposes to partner with Mr. Singh's PCR, which is the Prostate Clinical Research Institute. It is a premier place where prostate cancer research and clinical trials occur throughout the United States. The scope of work is actually cut off between these 6 tasks here, and I would talk about each of these tasks in detail in the following slides. Task 1 is the kickoff meeting between Evadera, UW-Madison, UIC, and PCR. Again, thank you so much for taking out this brief time, to make sure that we're all on the same page. We would be reviewing the project tasks in detail, the timelines, and the deliverables which would be given to the clients. At this stage, we would take the opportunity to ask if there are any background materials which could actually help us make the project solid, any communication between the FDA and yourself, meeting minutes, anything which could help us increase the research base for this project. We would encourage you to send that to us. At Evadera, we hold project management and ongoing communication standing meetings that are typically bi-weekly, and depending upon the need of the project, as this is a medium scale to a large scale project, we would propose to do a 1-hour conference call to provide process updates, status updates, updates regarding data collection, etc. Evadera will be circulating an agenda prior to the meeting, typically about 2 to 3 days prior to the meeting, and meeting minutes would be recorded after each call. The second task is to develop the study protocol and the IRB submission. It is ethical practice to conduct human research, making sure that the sensitive information shared in this group of patients, especially late-stage prostate cancer patients, is sensitive, and we want to make sure that it is kept confidentially, it is anonymous, and it's kept at a place where such information does not get in the hands of people who may exploit it. That is why we need to create a protocol which is going to be prepared under good clinical practice guidelines and be submitted to the Institute Review Board for approval. Only once we have the approval can we actually start the process of recruiting patients, including consenting them, scheduling them, etc. So Evadera will be preparing this protocol for you and will submit all these materials to the IRB for the approval of the study. And the materials which the site would be using to recruit these patients would also be included in this protocol. Now, as always, and as last time as well, we value your feedback and your suggestions. So we would be giving you a draft protocol before we submit a final protocol. And we would give you a week's time to give us feedback, recommendations, suggestions for improvement, making sure it aligns with your expectations with the project, and submitting a final protocol to the IRB for review. The third task involves site recruitment and training. Now, our preliminary discussions with PCR has shown that there are 3 particular sites which are in-house facilities in the US. One Phoenix, Arizona, the second in Chicago, Illinois, and the third in Cincinnati, Ohio, which have pre-screened qualifications for the personnel and the availability between these personnel to conduct these qualitative interviews. Following the completion of site screening, and if the site meets the requirement for Evadera and for you for the eligibility criteria, we would start the contracting process and arrange the site training. Task 3 is also, it's a continuation, and here we would like to highlight what all we have budgeted for in this particular task. Now, the budget here includes that all the interviews would be conducted on site, all of them would be face-to-face. PCR will provide us qualified staff to assist with consenting the subjects, completing demographic and other medical information. PCR would also provide us a private room where this one-on-one interview can occur. They will also be responsible for recruiting and screening these subjects and will be remunerating them as well. Evadera will be responsible for training the site to make sure that everything is in compliance with the IRB standards. And typically all these trainings are conducted online and they're on a WebEx forum. The next task talks about participant recruitment and data collection. As we proposed in our statement of work, we will be enrolling 25 participants to be interviewed face-to-face, and we will be using the same technique of cognitive debriefing, which essentially tells us how the participant is able to think aloud about each question. Does the question make sense? Is it clear? Are the response options causing any confusion, which may make them mark 2 options instead of 1? So that is going to be our goal, to understand that. In task 5, we would be analyzing this qualitative data collected. Essentially, we would be using the software called Atlas DI, which collects all the audio transcribed data into Word files and helps us to create tree maps and a very visual diagram of concepts and themes which have emerged from the interview, and bring us one wholesome picture of these 25 participants and their take on our quality of life scale made for prostate cancer patients. Last task talks about the study report. This essentially is the final deliverable from Evadera, and the format of this report would be akin to a publication or a manuscript which could potentially be given to a publication agency in a peer-reviewed forum. So we would be having an introduction, an objective, methods, results, and discussion section, along with appendix for tables and figures. Again, we would like the opportunity to get your feedback, so we will be giving you a draft report, giving you a week's time to collect feedback, suggestions, recommendations to improve this report, and then submitting the final report to you. The timeline has been discussed before, and I would just take a couple of seconds for you all to look at the screen right now. We're starting the project today, we kicked off on the 8th of October, and we would be submitting the final report on the 15th of March, 2018. All right. The Evidera contact information is present here. My name is again Sonal Khara Mansakhani. Jaskir Singh and Kawaljeet Kaur would be helping us out with this project. And at this stage, I keep the stage open for any questions and discussion points that you would like to discuss. I'd be happy to take that on. Thank you so much.